this video now, hopefully you know, otherwise you've got to go back, otherwise none of this will make sense. But you'll know, let me just move this around, that I'm having a baby, which is still really weird for me to say. It's been a really, really long road, and it's taken me like a long, long time to get here, to the point where I struggled with infertility for so long that it doesn't really feel real for me. So I'm going to do a separate video on post-traumatic stress from infertility, and it's a real thing, and I need to do more reading on it, but I'm coping a lot better now. So I'll talk about what happened at the beginning. This was an IVF pregnancy. It was my third cycle, my third round of IVF. I hadn't made a video on the third round of my IVF because this was the third round of IVF, the one that worked. If you saw my video previously about my second round of IVF, you need to watch that one, because with what happened there is the reason why I was so cautious with this one, because what I experienced was I did fall pregnant, and I had all positive tests. You need to go watch that video. I'll link it up here. I had all positive tests, and turns out I was pregnant, but my HCG levels weren't high enough, my progesterone wasn't high enough, and they said you just basically have to wait to miscarry, just go home and wait till you get your period. If you don't get your period and you have severe pain, call emergency, go to this hospital because you might be having an ectopic pregnancy. Yeah, not fun times. Anyway, it was actually really, really, really depressing. What happened with this round, I'm going to have to break this up into perhaps some other videos. So I'll talk about some stuff, and if I miss any detail, I'll talk about a full symptoms video in my next video. Confusing, I know. So I did do some things differently in this cycle. I'll try and talk about them as I go. I did things differently to what I did in my other cycles. One of the symptoms, also by the end of this, I'll tell you where I'm at now, okay? So one of the symptoms, and I know that my boobs are like obviously not fitting in this. I know that I'm spilling out, like I get it, like I know nobody has to say anything. One of my earliest symptoms after IVF, which I think is a positive, well I know that it was a positive, was at about 5 days post, so the embryo that's put in, for people that don't know, IVF is usually an embryo that made it to a day 5 or day 6, and then it gets frozen. So this was a frozen embryo transfer. I opted for 2 little babies, 2 little embryos to be put in. I have the natural killer cells, so obviously I was doing the intralipid infusions as well, and Clexane injections every night. And so my body, I put 2 embryos in for my first round of IVF. I wasn't having any treatment for the natural killer cells back then in Bulgaria, so my body pretty much just attacked those embryos because I wasn't having anything to suppress my immune system, like to stop seeing those embryos as a foreign body. Okay, so go back and watch my natural killer cell video as well, and it will all make sense, and it will help you. It will help you if you're going through this. I'm telling you right now. This time I put 2 embryos in, and around day 5, post 5-day transfer, I had some mild aching, which is kind of good, because that, I was like, I think that's implantation. Normally when the embryo implants, some people get a little bit of implantation bleeding, which I didn't get, which I kind of didn't want to get, because I was like, it would have stressed me out and been like, is that my period coming? So I got a little bit aching, which I was happy with, because the cycle beforehand that did work but didn't stick, that I got a bit of aching as well. My first cycle of IVF, okay, the difference in symptoms here is that the first cycle of IVF, where I got not even a faint line on my test, like absolutely nothing, I got zero symptoms, like nothing. I had no aching, like at all. I just felt pretty much normal and just had to keep on with my medication, and I was like, I know I'm not pregnant. So day 5 I had a little bit of aching. Anyway, it was really, really hard. And I know people say don't test, but I would rather put myself out of my misery. So, I started testing again. And at day 4, day 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because I'm crazy, I was testing. And the line was getting a bit darker. But because of what I went through previously, I knew that it actually meant nothing. It seriously meant nothing. Like, because until you get your bloods done, like these pregnancy tests are so sensitive that it will read the smallest amount of HCG in your blood. But in your urine, sorry. I was staring at these and analysing these tests like, so this is back in October. I was analysing them, and you want your test line to be as dark as the control line, so the line that's always there. Now, I'm going to fast forward. It was just like, you analyse it, you hold it under the light. I think a good sign was I went down and got a digital one morning, and you wake up and you're meant to use like your first morning urine. But if you're really pregnant, it doesn't matter what time of the day you test, but they say that first morning urine is the strongest. So I went down to the chemist and I got the first response, and I got the clear blue digital. Now the digital came up as, I think it came up as a positive. I'll pop it on the screen now. Now, when I got the positive on that, I was like, okay, maybe this is good, but I did get positive on a digital last time as well. So basically what happened, my test on the morning of driving in to the IVF clinic to go and get my bloods done, they say to wait till your bloods, and I learnt this, and I tell you guys even to wait until you get your bloods done, but I just would rather deal with the heartache and then not get my hopes up. Anyway, so I did a test in the morning, and like a crazy person, actually, I know this is nuts, but I still have that one test in my handbag. No, I won't go get it. I still have that one test in my handbag that I took with me to get my bloods done. And before I went, I was at the front of the hospital, and I sat in the car and I looked at it, and I was like, this has to be positive. Like, it has to be a positive one. And then I went up there to get my bloods done, and then I think I went and I got my bloods done, and then I went to the bathroom, and I stayed in there for ages, and I just stared at this test, looking at how strong the line is. And that test, I was just looking at it, and it's like mind games, absolute mind games. I can't even explain it. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, if you've ever wanted something so bad, and it's just like, you just constantly wonder, for people going through this, you go, when will it be my time? Like, when, maybe this month's my month. Like, I tried naturally for a long time, and you just go, this is gonna be my month. Maybe this will be my month, you know, like, and it's just staring at that test going, come on, this has to be like a real positive this time. Anyway, so I went home, tried to distract myself. Actually, I think I went shopping for linen, because I love shopping for new bed linen. That makes me really happy. I'm such like an old person. I've got some notes here. I'm going to talk about quickly my HCG levels, because I know when I was going through this, sorry, I don't know what my hair is doing today. I know that when I was going through this, I had nobody to talk to. I didn't tell a soul, and I was looking up the hashtags on Instagram, like typing in hashtag HCG levels and at certain days, and you know, you're trying to compare to other women. I was reading like the forums, trying to see where other people's HCG levels were at. Anyway, I knew that I had to get a number. I think they like you to be, my bloods were done at 17 days post-transfer, which would have been, that was technically 4 weeks and 3 days pregnant. So it should have been decent levels. Like every time I got my bloods done, it was on a Monday. Like I really needed them done on a Saturday, but it wasn't open, so I had to go on Mondays, which because it was 2 days later, they should have been a little bit higher. I'm going to share with you my HCG levels, okay? And that's if you're interested in this stuff, because I know I really was, because it's basically a numbers game. Like it is totally a numbers game, depicting on like if that pregnancy is going to stick or not. I got the call, and honestly, like I'm not going to get emotional. I got the call, and her voice, like I told you in the cycle that that beforehand that failed, like I could hear it in her voice. She was really clinical, and like I knew it, even though I thought I was pregnant, but then anyway, it turned out it wasn't. This time, the nurse was like, the IVF nurse was like, she just sounded happier, like, and they didn't make me wait all day like last time as well. I don't know if I'm reading too much into it. So I answered the phone, and she pretty much, I have to go through my Penny Higgs, and I have to say your date of birth and your address, blah, 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 blah. Let's just, like, your heart starts going, and anyway, like, your heart rate is, like, crazy. And she said, congratulations, you're pregnant. And I was just like, honestly, like, I just burst into tears. Like, it was just like, it was, Poppy, stop licking your vagina, like, in front of everyone. Honey, no. Bit late, do it later. Like to hit, like it was like relief, like coming off of my body, like, and a weight being lifted. And so she said your HCG at 16 DPO, which would have been the day before, has to be 50 or above. And this was at 4 weeks and 3 days. My HCG was 866, which that is what, like, thank goodness, like, this is what I've got this baby in me now. Like, thank goodness for those levels. The progesterone levels had to be above 30, and my progesterone was 119. Then the waiting and the craziness of, like, just trying to, it's like the biggest audition of my life. Trying to make it to, so instead of scheduling my bloods 2 days later to see if my HCG levels have risen, they made me wait a whole freaking week, okay? So then I think they have to, every 48 hours your HCG levels are meant to double, but not fully anyway. So at 5 weeks and 4 days, my HCG level was 12,000, and my progesterone, which was 94, which was still okay, but I was a little bit worried. Oh, then the third blood, which was a week later, and it's like, until you get to this one, you just can't even, like, when you're in my position and going through IVF, like, you can't even really get a little bit happy, but you can't get too happy. Like, it's just such a different journey. So at 6 weeks and 3 days, my HCG level needed to be between 4,000 and 28,000, and it was 56,000, and my progesterone levels were 105, which was good. Now, I needed to make it 1 more week to get to the viability scan. That was hectic, like absolutely hectic. Like, I can't even tell you how nervous I was. I prepared myself so much mentally. I've heard so many stories about where people go in for that. That's the 7-week scan, is to see if there's an actual baby in there and it has a heartbeat. And, you know, I just prepared myself. You prepare yourself for the worst going through this, so that there might not be a heartbeat, and just like, it's so hard, but this is like, you have to mentally prepare yourself. Like, it is so hard. And I went in for that, and I'll pop a video up now, but I could not believe it. At the 7-week and 3-day scan, the baby was measuring 7 weeks and 5 days, and the heartbeat was 157, which I was told that that was normal. Basically, I felt pretty much normal, and I've got a lot of notes here. I was at this stage still doing the intralipid infusions. Once they confirmed the pregnancy, my specialist got me to do an intralipid infusion 2 weeks after the confirmed pregnancy. A few things that I did differently. I've got to tell you, the cycle that didn't work, the second one where I got treated for the killer cells, I had the intralipid infusion, I believe, too early from my transfer. So this time, they say make it within a certain period of time. I pushed it a lot closer to my transfer. Second thing I did, I asked, and I believe you've got to ask for this stuff, because if you don't ask, sometimes they won't give it to you. So you've got to ask, and this is why you've got to be educated in this stuff. Like, and I'm not a doctor or anything, but you know, from like learning and watching other people's videos, and you've got to learn about it, because if you don't know, you don't know to ask, and you've got to ask for these things. I asked for progesterone pessaries, which are gross, and you pop them up there 3 times a day, and it's messy, but progesterone is the hormone that it kind of like it supports the pregnancy and keeps it going. If your progesterone levels drop, then you get your period. So I asked my specialist, this going into this 3rd round of IVF, I said, I want to be put on progesterone pessaries, please. And he was great. He was like, yep, let's do it. It was really expensive. The whole thing was bloody so expensive. Yeah, so I had progesterone pessaries, and I did them all the way until 14 weeks, and I was a bit scared to go off them, but they say once you get to about 10 to 12 weeks, the placenta is meant to be creating that progesterone, so you're not meant to need the pessaries by then. The placenta takes over. Another thing I did differently, everyone's going to be like, yeah, that's really weird, that's not helping, but I forgot to say, in my 2nd round of IVF, I did pay extra money and do the special acupuncture, like before and after the transfer, then a week after the transfer again. And like, I know a lot of people say that acupuncture helped them and it creates blood flow to the area and all this stuff, and they say that was the determining factor that they think helped them. Well, I just have to say that I got acupuncture in that other cycle and it didn't work, and honestly, I ran out of money and I just didn't do it. Stop! You can't lick your vagina on this, okay? What was I saying? Yeah, I didn't do acupuncture this time because I was like, well, I don't have the money, and I'm like, just honestly, I was just so overwhelmed. I was kind of like, just didn't book in for it. I tried, you know, you can try to do everything right, like keep your feet warm, eat 3 Brazil nuts every day, which I did for like a long time, have like 1 slice of pineapple every day. This is all the IVF stuff that if you're going through IVF, you know what I'm talking about. Keep your feet warm. I already said that, losing my mind. But yeah, you can try to do everything perfectly, and you know what? It doesn't always make a difference. There's like a lot of people that conceive just by going out and getting drunk, and whoops, we made a baby and I wasn't even trying. So like, people going through IVF, we beat ourselves up about making sure that we do everything perfectly and we have all of our vitamins and make sure that you do this, but it's like, it's crazy, but you will do whatever it takes to try to like become a mother. So, okay, so that's the stuff that I did differently. I'm going to make a separate video for my symptoms because I'm going to talk about my biggest symptom that I had, which nobody talks about, which I didn't even know was a thing. I didn't know was a thing. Basically, nobody would have known that I was pregnant. My boobs are so itchy, by the way, because my skin's stretching, and I'm going to have like the worst stretch marks after. Like, it's got hectic. Like, it's got real bad. Like, so itchy. Like, I just want to itch them. Like, I've got scratch marks and stuff. So, I need to tell you before I wrap this up where I am at. The next video, I'm going to share some stuff about my prenatal testing and about the scan going in for that, the NIPT test, which is also called the Harmony test, where they check for things. So I'll talk about that. It's kind of going to be a different vibe of a video and you might not understand it. So that's why in that video at the same time I kind of want to talk a little bit about the post-traumatic stress, because I am only just starting to mentally accept that I think I'm having a baby now. I know it sounds crazy, but I've been so scared to kind of get attached in case anything happens. That's what happens after you've had a few miscarriages. So I keep looking down at my notes here and I've got week by week symptoms, and I'm going to take you guys along and show you some of my scans and what happened. But it's a little bit, it's not that it's depressing, but it's just real for someone going through this. But yeah, I'll tell you about my biggest symptom and why nobody would have guessed that. Nobody guessed that I was pregnant, because look, this is 10 weeks pregnant here. I was 14 weeks pregnant here. I was like, I lost 5 kilos and it was really bad, but nobody associates weight loss with pregnancy, and I wasn't throwing up either, was not throwing up. So you're thinking, oh yeah, you had nausea, you were throwing up. No, like I will tell you about this. I just wanted to today go through the HCG levels, the 7-week viability one, and this is what I did differently, the little things that I did differently. Like, ask your specialist for things. Like, you're the one that's paying all the money. This isn't a natural, not that it's not a natural pregnancy, like it is natural, but like I created this is from IVF. So ask your specialist for stuff. Like if you've read something somewhere and you've heard something from someone, like ask about it, because yeah, you just got to, like, you're the one, it's your body, you're the one that's paying all of that money. Even if you ask and they say no, like, at least you tried. And then I believe if you really, really want something, like, put your foot down. So, yeah, I won't make it too long, but I'll get the next video up actually really soon. Yeah, just like, it's just really crazy. This is all just doesn't feel real, like, does not feel real. And right now, I am 22 weeks pregnant. Tomorrow, I will be 23 weeks pregnant. I didn't tell anyone about this until after my 21-week scan. Yeah, it's pretty weird. Okay, I am moving home soon, which it's so overwhelming, like it's crazy. Like I've got so much to do and I just need to do one thing at a time, because it's just, I've got too much going on right now. I'm gonna work out like my home stuff. I'm trying to find a home for myself and for my baby and for my old dog. And next I'm gonna talk about the symptoms and the weeks and the scans and my worst symptom of all, and which, yeah, anyway, it was like, it was crazy and nobody tells you about it. Like, I'd never read about this. It's crazy. Like, anyway, okay, don't forget to like and subscribe and tag or share this with anyone who's interested in this stuff. I will see you guys all really soon. Okay, I gotta go to teaching. Like, I've got to like strap these things up and eat and then go to teaching. Okay, all right, bye.